I have been doing some serious testing in the last week to find the best pair of headphones, and what I have for you here is the Bose QC35s, I have the Apple AirPod Max, and I have the Sony XM4s, or their full name is WH-1000 XM4. Sony have got to work on their names, but anyways, this is what I have for you. This is what we're going to be testing, and I'm going to be testing a variety of different things. In this video, we are going to be comparing the sound, mics, design, build quality, price, portability, connectivity, noise cancellation, transparency modes, controls, battery life, and comfort. I know, that sounds like quite a lot of things, and this video sounds like it's going to go on for hours, but I promise you it won't. It's going to be a very straight to the point test. I'm not going to faff and talk every section for half an hour about that area. We're just going to run straight into the scores. Also, if you want, everything is timestamped, so you can just jump to whatever you want to watch, but I do recommend watching the whole thing to really get the best understanding of which headphone is the true winner. Each product is going to get a point if they win that category, and then at the end of the video, when we do the verdict, we can see which product came out victorious. So starting with the sound category, I have compared a few different songs so I could test these headphones across the board. The first song is Hear You Me by Sad Boy. Here are the respective scores from each headphone. The Apple headphones were insanely clear. I felt like I was hearing everything, quite a deep tone to the music, and by far the clearest of the three. The Sonys weren't far behind, and the Bose performed the worst. They were the quietest, and they just didn't feel very impactful. The next song is Window Shopper by 50 Cent. The XM4s came out on top here. The bass was punchier, the music sounded clearer. The AirPods just weren't hitting home for this genre of music. And the Bose were terrible in comparison, just no bass. I've been using the Bose for 3 years now, and I always thought they were superior. But I guess when you pair them side by side like this, the differences become very noticeable. The next song was Burn the House Down by AJR. Absolutely cracking song. The Bose got a 5 out of 10. Just wasn't that impactful. Both the AirPods and the Sonys both got a 9 out of 10. The soundstage on the AirPods is truly excellent. Each instrument was crystal clear. Likewise with the XM4s, it sounded like I was in a club. The bass on the XM4s was slightly heavier than the AirPod Maxes as well. Now for some rock. We have When We Stand Together by Nickelback. Bose performed much better than normal here, and they always have performed very well when it comes to rock music. They were quieter, but the vocals were the clearest of the three. However, the rest of the instruments just sounded blended together. The Sonys were almost perfect, it was so close, and the AirPods were just spot on. A full 10 out of 10. It felt like I was at a Nickelback concert. Truly spectacular performance. The next song is Hey Boy by Sia. The Bose did okay, lacking a lot of bass, but the vocals are incredibly clear again. The Sonys again were okay with a 7 out of 10. They weren't the best. The AirPods took the win ever so slightly. Finally, the last song is If Tonight Is My Last by Laura Isabor. Again, an absolutely cracking song, one of the best of the bunch for me. I just absolutely love this song. So how did the headphones stack up for this last song? The Bose are really just starting to sound like normal headphones to me. I expected better, and I know these are old, right? A lot older than these two, and I know that they have a lot newer ones like the Bose 700s, but still I expected better. The Sonys were good. The bass was a bit too strong, and I know it can be amended, but I'm just testing out the box. The vocals are slightly quiet, but despite all of that, they simply sound incredible. This was my favorite song for the AirPods Max by far. I mean, wow. They were just perfect. I'm actually speechless about this one. Instruments were clear as day. There was nothing overpowering. The vocals were perfect. It was just an incredible experience listening to this song with the Apple AirPod Max. So if we tally up the sounds, we're left with Bose with 30 out of 60, Sony with a score of 50 out of 60, and Apple just taking the win with a score of 54 out of 60. Moving on to the mics. Now let's test the mics, starting with the Apple AirPod Max. They have quite a deep tone to them and it's actually quite nice. The Sony mics came out clearest, not too deep, but just really clear. And what it does, which is quite cool, is when recording, it goes into the transparency mode so I can actually hear myself talk. I really like that feature. I actually think the Bose microphones are really good. They really keep up with the big boys, and I think actually at times they're better than the Sonys and the Apple headphones. So I think that is very cool, especially for a pair of headphones at this price range. Now onto the design. Something like the design is always going to be an opinion-based comparison because people have different tastes. Personally, I think the Sonys have the cleanest, most elegant design, and I love the matte feel to them. The Apple headphones are definitely the most unique, and I love the mesh. I think it's so cool. They look a lot more luxurious than the others as well. But I feel like they'll scratch very easily, and I don't like it when they bang together like this. The Bose have a classic design. There's nothing special. They're like very stealth, but that's just because they're all black. Without a doubt, the Apple AirPod Max are the most artistic and unique, so I'm going to give them the win just for trying something new with the headband and the brushed aluminum cups. However, for those that don't care about new and artistic, the Sony's design is absolutely stunning. In terms of build quality, I feel like the Bose have the best durability, but not the best quality. They seem like they would be hard to break. They're flexible, and because they're plastic, I'm not worried about dropping them or bashing them about. The Sonys aren't as flimsy as the Bose. They seem to be a little stiffer, and I still wouldn't be worried about chucking them about. They're also made mostly from plastic. The ear cup cushion feels very high quality. The AirPod Maxes are made from various things, including stainless steel and brushed aluminum. They're quite a lot heavier because of this, but the build quality is incredible. They're still somewhat flexible, similar to the Sonys. With the AirPod Maxes, I'm going to be constantly worried about damaging them, scratching them, especially with the terrible case design. So for this one, I'm going to give the win to the Sony MX4s. Even though the build quality on the Apple is just incredible, I feel like the Sonys, they took a lot more things into consideration besides just making a piece of art. They thought, how would the end user use these headphones? And that's why I'm going to give them the win. Now, in terms of price, we're going to just look at the latest prices I found on Amazon to this date. The AirPod Maxes come in at $549, or if you're in the UK like me, £549. The Sony MX4s come in at $269 or £349, and the Bose come in at $269 as well, or £229, which goes to show how good value the Sonys are. I mean, wow. Sonys are 100% taking the win here, especially seeing as in America it's the same price as the Bose. They are way newer, and from what we've tested so far, they massively outshine the Bose. Portability is a big factor with these kind of headphones. People want to be able to stuff them in a bag and go. Now with the Sonys and the Bose, portability is perfect, probably slightly better with the Bose. With the AirPod Max, however, portability is shockingly bad. The case doesn't protect the band, and because of this, you have to be super careful where you put them. Forget stuffing them in your bag, I wouldn't want that mesh headband to rip. You may find yourself carrying them around like a handbag, but that's very annoying, and who wants to do that? Why couldn't Apple make a case like this? It's not as pretty, but it's much more practical, and I reckon quite a few people are going to end up putting it in a case like this, as well as using the smart case. Of course, you'll always have to use Apple's smart case because that's the only thing that puts these headphones in standby. When they go into the case, they go into standby. There's no on or off button or anything like that. It's very Apple, and it's very annoying. Let's move on to connectivity. With Apple, it's all done over AirPlay and Bluetooth, but it's not as good as I thought it would be. It took me a while to connect it to my phone and then to my iPad. It wasn't as seamless as it should have been. It connected once seamlessly to my phone when I just put them on my ears, but that was the only time. Every other time I've had to go into Bluetooth settings and actually manually select it. It's got one port for charging and that same port if you want to plug in and listen. However, you don't get the wire with the headphones. Even for this extravagant price, you have to pay a bit extra if you want that wire. Again, very classic Apple. The Bose aren't the best either, using their own smaller port, not a normal 3.5mm jack. And it's actually quite annoying. I've been in a situation where I can't find my Bose special wire and I just haven't been able to use them, which has been very frustrating. The Sonys come on top here. You have a USB-C for charging and a 3.5mm port for listening, and you get all of those wires when you buy it. I can't believe this is even a thing I'm saying. Getting the wires should be something standard, especially for headphones priced in these price brackets. Let's talk about noise cancellation, because that's something all these headphones do quite well in. Bose have always been top of their class for noise cancellation. However, after a week of testing, I have to say the Sonys came out on top for me. I tested in various environments, watching or listening to various things, and the Sonys just kicked ass. The AirPod Maxes were also fantastic, but they weren't as good. The Bose, again, were also excellent. Very standard noise cancellation. I don't really like that very annoying hiss that you get on the Bose, but I feel like that's standard in so many noise cancellation headphones, and you kind of get a very small one on the Apple and the Sony as well. For noise transparency, this is a super cool feature and one that I think Apple does best. Sony is good, and I love how the noise transparency auto goes on when the music or the film is paused, but it's a weird sound. Things coming through, it sounds very fake, it sounds very tinny. I'm not a fan. The AirPod Max have done transparency very well. The sound comes through very naturally, and it was the best sounding noise transparency. Bose, on the other hand, don't actually have this feature, so I couldn't really test it. In terms of controls, they all have different controls. The Bose has a few buttons, one for noise cancellation, a play, pause, volume up, volume down, all those physical buttons that we just are used to. The Sonys are touch, and it really, really works. The ear cup is touch, so you can swipe up for volume, swipe down, swipe left, swipe right for skipping, or you can tap to pause. I didn't think I'd like it, but it's really fast and it's really useful. As for the AirPods Max, they have two buttons, transparency mode button and the digital crown, which controls volume. You can also click it for pausing, all that good stuff. It's also nice and very easy to control whilst you're wearing the headphones. I think, however, the Sonys come out on top here. The touch controls are just on point. They are so good, so good. Now, in terms of battery life, this is a very easy comparison. You've got the Bose that come in at 20 hours, the Sonys come in at 30 hours, and the Apple headphones come in at 20 hours. So again, very simple win for the Sonys. The annoying thing with the Apple AirPod Maxes is that they never fully turn off. When you put them in their case, they just go onto standby mode. They never fully go off, whereas with the Sonys and the Bose, you actually have physical buttons to turn them off. Comfort is probably one of the most important categories, along with sound, and I've actually rated them out of 10. The Bose getting a 6 out of 10, the Sonys getting an 8 out of 10, and the Apple getting a 5 out of 10. Why did the Apples get the worst score? Well, that's due to the weight. They're incredibly tight against my face, and the headphones in general seem a bit stiff. Bose are slightly too tight as well, making them uncomfortable for long periods of time. And the Sonys feel very breathable, they're insanely lightweight, and I could easily and have worn these for hours upon hours and just forgotten I was wearing them. And I think that is very, very important. On the Sonys, the cushioning on the ear cups is just so soft, it's so nice, it doesn't feel tight. Whereas on the Apples, the cushioning is incredibly soft and incredibly comfortable, but because they're slightly too tight, it presses against my temple or just below my jaw, and it's slightly uncomfortable. So let's discuss the verdict. In terms of points, the Sony ends up with 6 points, the Apple ends up with 4 points, and the Bose ends up with 2 points. So on paper, it looks like the Sony is an easy win. However, there is some other things to consider here. In my opinion, the Sonys are truly excellent. They tick all the boxes. They are just fantastic headphones. whilst being half the price of the AirPod Maxes. That's just mental when you think about it. If the AirPod Maxes were cheaper, significantly cheaper, it would make a massive difference, and it would be a very hard comparison between the Sony and the Apple because they both came out very, very good. The sound on the AirPod Maxes is just truly incredible, and I don't know how Apple have done it. For a company that isn't, you know, audio focused, they are technology focused as a whole, for them to come out with something that sounds so crisp, so clear, so incredible, I was blown away. However, I don't think that quality of sound is worth double the price of the Sonys, because the Sony sound was also fantastic, like absolutely incredible, and I just don't think paying double is worth it for the increase of sound quality. Now, if you've got money to burn and you care mostly about the sound, go for the AirPod Maxes. If you want to be more money conscious and you care about all the elements that make a pair of headphones great, then I would say pick the Sonys, because overall they tick majority of the boxes. The Sonys just are a great overall pair of headphones, but again, if you just solely care about sound, go with the Apple AirPod Maxes. And if you're really, really conscious about money, that is why I put the Bose in here, because I wanted to put, you know, a cheaper option in here for all of you, and that's where these come out at. These, you know, win on price because they are so affordable, but weirdly they only seem to be affordable in the UK. In America they cost the same as the Sonys, so that's silly. But in the UK these are a good £120 cheaper than the Sonys, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds cheaper than the AirPod Maxes. So if I was having to make the decision, I think I would go for the Sonys, just because they tick every single box. It's so hard though, because the AirPod Maxes, the sound is just phenomenal. But I think that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below which one you would pick based on all of this. If you haven't heard them, go out and try and listen to them when you can. I know, you know, the whole situation is very difficult to go and test things out, but as soon as you can, test them out. I personally would say buy the Sonys. And it's actually really funny, Apple bringing these headphones out has been great advertisement for the Sonys, because all the videos on YouTube are comparing these two headphones. So I reckon Sony's got a whole bunch of sales just because Apple brought these headphones out. So it's quite funny. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As you can probably tell, this is a very new channel. I probably have 50 subscribers at this point, who knows. So please, if you like this video, if you like this comparison, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let me know in the comments down below which one was your favorite. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.